хамгийн ихний илтгэл байна. AWS territory хариуцсан territory manager Almas Moldocano. Please welcome.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking your time and having us today. It's a real pleasure to be here in Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia. It's our first visit here with our team. My name is Almas. I'm territory manager at AWS, Amazon Web Services. And I'm in charge of working with customers and partners and enterprise organizations and business in area of Central Eurasia countries, Caucasus countries, as well as Mongolia. And we're happy to be here. So here's my contacts. If you scan the QR code, you go to Mail 2. In your mailbox, you can send your email, and let's introduce each other and then follow up our meetings here. Here's my mobile phone. I have a Telegram, WhatsApp. Feel free to chat and use it. So let's align about what is AWS and Amazon Web Services. Is the world's most comprehensive and broadly adopted cloud for today, offering over 200 fully featured services. And millions of customers, including fast-growing companies, startups, big enterprises, government organizations, and even independent users are using AWS to lower costs, become more agile, and innovate faster. Is somebody of you using already AWS services and technology? Just raise your hand. Oh, really? Great to see, great to hear. So moving forward, just to be aligned all together, how do customers benefit from the cloud? It's all about agility. Teams can experiment and innovate quickly and faster with their projects. It is about cost savings, only pay for what you use, leveraging economies of scale. We learned a lot that here in Mongolia, many of companies doing business at scale and entering neighboring markets and also different markets in the globe. That's about elasticity, scale up and down, easy, and within needs of a business, about an innovation, and global footprint. This is a key pillar. Industry leaders are building on AWS. It's not all the customers, just examples. I think you are familiar with many of logos like Netflix, Adobe, and Unilever, who is using AWS technology to making their business and innovate fast. So many of customers trust to AWS because of security reason as well, and AWS recognized as a cloud leader by the Gartner Quadrant, Magic Quadrant as a cloud infrastructure and platform services, 12 consecutive years for now. So talking about the #1 priority for AWS is the security. Here we're using shared responsibility model where AWS is fully responsible for security of the cloud, and customers is responsible for security in the cloud, for security of their applications, management of access management, configuration, their firewalls, network, operating system, and etc. So the same approach we use in compliance and regulations. So AWS is responsible for compliance of the cloud, and customers is responsible for compliance in the cloud and their compliance rules. For instance, as of now, AWS has more than 98 security standards and compliance certifications like ISO certifications and PCI DSS, for instance. And also important topics which in details tomorrow in ICT forum here in Shangri-La Hotel is going to share and speak about our keynote speaker, Victor, at the ICT forum. Please join us to listen the whole number 3 at past 4 p.m. It's about sustainability, and AWS is responsible for sustainability of the cloud, of infrastructure, of data centers, building them, And customers for sure is responsible for sustainability in their cloud and following their own agenda. Speaking about how it looks like the cloud physically, on AWS we have a global presence, 31 region as of now with 99 availability zones across this region, and publicly speaking, the planned expansion of plus 15 availability zones and plus 5 regions as well. AWS region design, how it looks like. Actually, AWS region, if zoom in, a region is physical location and around the globe, where we have clusters of data centers. Call each of them, each of group of logical data centers and availability zones inside. And if we zoom in the availability zones, we have there availability zones consist of one or more discrete data centers, each of with redundant power, networking, and connectivity housed in separate facilities due to security reasons and disaster recovery reasons. So we have 400 types of compute instances in AWS Cloud and more than 300 fully featured services for any needs and any workloads designed for customers and users. So we're talking about the migration to the cloud from the on-premises or any local and global other cloud providers. So why use AWS to migrate your workloads? So first of all, it's about most migration experience on AWS. Over 1 million active customers, leading brands migrated to AWS. It's about most comprehensive and mature migration tools we have in AWS, and broad partner ecosystem who supports our customers in large migrations and small migrations as well. It's the most complete migration solution set of programs and solutions to accelerate, automate your cloud journey. Benefits, as seen across thousands of migrations. From migration to AWS, it's about 31% average infrastructure cost savings, and 33 fewer security incidents per year, 62% of IT staff productivity boost, and 3 times more features delivered per year. So let me skip some slides. We have also for big enterprises and companies the migration acceleration program. Consists of simple 3 steps. Is a flagship AWS programs to help customers migrate and modernize to AWS using proven approach and expertise of AWS and partners ecosystems. Consists of assess approach, mobilize, and migrate. Within this, on first step, you create a case for the change, and by the support of partners and AWS, assess your readiness for migration. And on the second stage of mobilize, you build readiness through the experiences, sharing by AWS and partners as well. And on the third step, migrate to modernize, accelerate transformation at scale, and continue to grow your business and speed up your business with AWS. Sharing some customer stories. For instance, Samsung migrated all data without service downtime to AWS Cloud, improve performance and save costs for commercial licenses, and enabled diverse experience on new services. General Electric migrate 9,000 workloads, including 300 ERP. Just imagine how big is it deal, yeah, to migrate. And talking about the closest customers we have in the region, I can note the Astana International Exchange, which fully used the AWS Cloud for their infrastructure. In Kazakhstan, there's a stock exchange, and they push faster development and the highest level of availability and security for their needs, and also NASDAQ engines they used for their business. The stock exchange works on AWS. And we have Aliv Bank in Tajikistan and Uzbekistan. It's a few digital neobank without any physical presence, who doing business on AWS in a hybrid infrastructure and expanding the market of neighboring countries. And Space, neobank in Georgia as well, opened neobank using AWS infrastructure in 8 months. How can we help you to innovate? Actually, I already had some discussion within our network session. If you would like to try AWS services and would like to experiment and test or pilot and make a proof of concept, please feel free to contact me and we discuss in person about your project and how we can support you with probably credits for your POC and support delivered by our solution architects free of charge for sure to give you advice and share best practice to optimize, improve your architecture design and also help you to test your needs and tasks on AWS and your projects. And when you look at the workloads your team is building, can you answer this question? Are you well architected?
Hello. Yeah, my name is Yegor Misnikov. I'm solution architect, working with customers from Central Asia and Mongolia, of course. So if you have any technical questions, we will be here for network sessions, so you can join me, ask any questions, so we can thinking of how to build your architecture better. And for today, I would like to share with you the story about well-architected. Who knows what does it mean, well-architected? Yeah? Victor knows. All right, so well-architected, this is framework to help you to be well architected. So build the architecture based on your needs on AWS services. And we have a small problem there, how after you go through this exam, let's say exam, and get the input from the system, and you need to improve something inside your system. And the problem is that we are getting the PDF report for that, and I show you later a little bit around this. And we create integration with Miro boards, and you can easily install the small application, our solution, which is available on GitHub, install it in your system and get integrated with Miro boards and collaborate with your team regarding the findings which are well-architected show you. All right, but first, why AWS invented a well-architected framework? We have a huge experience how to run a huge system, and we would like to help you to do it in the best way. So we share in the best practices how to run systems and start using AWS in a better way with the totally full best practices. And we help you to build and deploy faster, lower and mitigate risk. So if you have some risk, this questionnaire with trusted advisors automatic system help you to build the list of improvements if you have it in your system, and you can mitigate it or improve and close the issues to make your system better. And it helps you to make data-driven decisions, because you know what what blanks in your system, maybe some risks or improvements, and you can use well-architected tool to understand what can be improved in your system and improve it. And finally, learn best practices from AWS. And for now, I have a demo for you. This is a recorded demo, but I will comment it. So this is well-architected tool. Yeah, starting. One sec. Ah, yeah, it started. Okay. Yeah, so started. So this is a well-architected tool. You can find inside your console, inside your AWS account. You can go to create workloads. What is workloads? So currently I have 2 workloads. This is findings which I have in my system, and you see that for here, for example, I have overall past 90 questions from the 100, and currently have a couple of findings there. So here I have sorry. Fuck. Okay. One sec. It's running.
You can touch and
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Alma. Okay, yeah, so currently, so overall status that your couple of workloads, so here we passed 11 from 60, and the first one, 90 from 104. We have 76 high-risk items, which needs to be improved in your system, and to find it, you need to go to this workload and download the опять остановилось. На, чтобы я не нажал случайно. Okay. Yes. So you need to go to workload, and here we have a number of items that you need to check and improve. For example, we have lens and pillars. Pillars, it's something that's separated by the topics, and you can elaborate around that. So you need to generate the report, and this is the common report which show you in PDF format what findings you have inside your system. And for example, how do you evaluate serverless application health? And you see that our system or your team say that we don't understand what the system is and how we analyze it. And we have an improvements plan here. And the most challenging there that you have this report, and you need to somehow get these challenges and findings and put in your Jira dashboard, for example, to further iteration with your developers included inside the sprint and working around it. So we create integration that help you to use it. We called it well-architected risk item. It's available on GitHub. What is it? So we have a Miro application. You are choosing a region where you are passing your well-architected review, and choose the region of the well-architected review and get the workloads. So we get the similar workload that you have there. And here you have naming of workload, number of lengths which you have, and inside the lengths there is number of topics to improve. And you see that we have a description of your workloads and lengths. For example, let's take a look on the length, and we imported it as a cards on the Miro board, where you can elaborate with your team. For example, the red one, this is high-risk items, and you have yellow, this is medium-risk items. So this is not important, but also important. Also, you have a description of that. You can assign on your team member, for example, or put dates when we start and when it's going to be finished, and put in some text. The nice feature that Miro provides you functionality to put the Kanban board on the board, and yeah, Kanban. And you can get all the tasks and put it as to do, and your team can start working on that right here. But if you have additional integrations with Jira, for example, Miro has also integration with the Jira, so you can transform your task with the Jira task, and using this button. And I integrate my Jira board with the Miro, and when I create the Jira task, convert to the Jira task, so I saw this task here, but as the item as the Jira, and this item needs to show up in the Jira board. Yeah, so we have the same item as that. So that's how you automate it, move to the well-architected to the Jira for the few clicks. Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much.
So well-architected framework, it means like we try to create some best practices and make sure that we do it the right way. So also, we have to think about our continuous integration, continuous delivery pipelines, because when you make some development process, you want to achieve, like the best way, the faster way to deliver a new feature, and also make sure that this feature or this functionality is tested. But before I joined to AWS, my name is Victor, and previously, before I joined to AWS, I worked as system engineer more than 10 years. And spent a lot of time to create CI/CD pipelines. It's super important because if you do some stuff on your local machine, it doesn't matter that like how to work with the production. So you have to create something and integrate. But the biggest question, how we can measure our CI/CD? Because if we do some stuff, we also have to measure it. And this very great report, it's related to its dollar metrics. It's from the DevOps research, and dollar metrics say you can measure 4 main metrics. The first one is deployment frequency. And I remember the time when I joined to some conference and people say, hey, we have a deployment every day. And it was like, wow, you have deployment one time in a day. It's like amazing. And currently, if you look at for example, to Amazon or to another company, they have multiple deployments, like 100,000 deployments per day. So the first metric is deployment frequency. The second one is lead time for changes. All of us understand what is lead time. So I have an idea, for example, to make some improvements, a new feature, and how much time it will take to develop and deploy to the production. It's another way how we can measure our CI/CD pipeline. Also, change failure rate. It means like what's the percentage deployments with some problem and we deliver it to the production. And also, the last one is time to restore. So if we have an issue, how fast we can restore and how fast we can go back to online. And what guys from DevOps research and assessments, like from dollar metrics, what they said? They said if you're if you're a light team, like 26%, you will deploy on demand. It means like if you have something to deploy to the production, you can do it, push the button, or push the commit your changes to Git. Your lead time switching from 6 months to less than 1 hour. Honestly, I don't believe in this metric. It's like a crazy. A lead time for 1 hour, it's like only if I commit it and deploy it. And failure rate, decrease from 30% to up to 0 or 50%. It means like you deliver very often and you have less problems during the deployment. But I want to start to speak with you, but what's exactly CI/CD pipeline, blueprint of CI/CD pipeline? From what parts you have to start, what you should do to implement and measure your CI/CD pipelines. So, in my personal opinion, when we start to do any development process, we have to spend the time to understand what the branching strategy will be for us, what will be the best solution to store our code, how we store. And you know, like again, just like during my experience, I had many conversations when people said Git flow is the best solution. But honestly, Vincent Reason, the author of Git flow, on previous year said it's not the best solution in 2023 because when he created this approach branching strategy, he created when people deliver product on CD disks and delivery like a physical delivery. And nowadays, when we work in microservice architecture, we need to do it faster and apply new approach. And from my perspective, one of the best approaches will be GitHub Flow when you create short-lived branches. For example, for some bugs or for new feature, you implement code review. It's very important because with code review, it helps you to achieve the better quality of your code. Run multiple tests, for example, open pull request and merge it to master, for example, or to the main. So it's like a lot of free spaces, but as I said, for CI/CD, the first step, it will be our Git branching strategy and how we store our code. And also it will be started from code review. But when we switch into the continuous integration, it means like we bring some CI/CD server. It can be everything what you prefer. Some of you will say like, I like Jenkins. Some of you maybe say I prefer to use GitLab. Maybe TeamCity, doesn't matter. But what's the most important of CI/CD process? First of all, we have to run some code analysis. It means like for security checks, for quality of our code, and the final step for continuous integration, it's artifacts. When we get this artifact to repository, we will move this artifact from one environment to the next environment. And it's very important to save this consistency because when you deliver a new artifact to a new environment, you have a risk that you do something on another way and you can bring some problems. So the next phase is continuous delivery when we deploy something to our first environment. I call my first environment like a dev, but it can be your QA or integration environment, doesn't matter. But what I highlighted here is that infrastructure provision also should be part of your continuous delivery pipeline. It's very important to understand that when you deliver something, it's not only your code, for example, in container, it's also your infrastructure, how you prepare your infrastructure. It can be your on-premise solution, okay, no problem, how you prepare your virtual machines, how you deliver your databases configuration. If you're working with the cloud, of course, infrastructure is code. Or, for example, it can be maybe some Ansible playbooks, configure some infrastructure. So we create our environment and deliver our artifacts. The same artifacts what we generated here on continuous integration and run some quality gates. Quality gates should be everywhere and run as soon as possible because quality gate can help you to save a lot of time. You know, like when developer working with a code, it's very important to have in my opinion, at the end, I will share my own metrics of CI/CD. It's very important to provide feedback for developers during the 15 minutes. Because if developers spend more than 15 minutes, most probably he will switch his focus to another task. When switching the focus, it means like you upload everything what's related to this task and switching and download everything what's related to another task. So quality gate should be everywhere and continuous integration when we run some, for example, unit test and continuous deployment also when we run some, for example, integration test or acceptance test. And we are moving from one environment to another environment, like, for example, to QA environment, UAT or pre-production. UAT is user acceptance test. As a final step for continuous delivery, it's your approval. Maybe release manager or someone else who is responsible for the quality of the deployment. But how exactly we can measure what's like? Dora said we have 4 metrics. But in my experience, what we implemented and how we measure our continuous integration, continuous delivery. So there is, a list of my own metrics, which I collected during the last 10 years. The first one is build failure percentage, and my recommendation to have just like in the range between 5 or 10%. The next one is time to feedback. It's super important metric. It's related to how you fast run your continuous integration delivery and how fast you get feedback to your developers. Because again, it's as I said, here I recommended 30 minutes, but on reality, my recommendation, try to achieve 15 minutes. Because if you spend more than 15 minutes, again, developer will switch the focus and it will be like a waste time because need again to switch back to the new feature and then back to, for example, some problem with bugs, to the code, upload dependency and so on. The next one, percentage of unknown to known, it's related to infrastructure. For example, you're working with developers and deliver your code to new infrastructure. How often do you have a problem with infrastructure during your continuous delivery pipeline? It should be more than 80%. It means like you don't have any issue, so it's every time predictable and you know what's exactly happened. The next one is maximum build server queue. It means like how many builds currently in the queue and waiting for to provide feedback. Again, it's super related to the third one, time to feedback, because if you have, like, for example, 10 builds in the progress, it means like developer which currently committed something, he or she will waiting for, I don't know, like couple hours to get the results. Average queue time, like how fast we get the, feedback. And the last one is pull request count. Or maybe nowadays it's prefer to say cost for every pull request. And for example, if you're working with AWS and Terraform, exist many open source tools which can help you to say, this pull request will cost for you, I know, additional $100. And you can manage and see what's exactly why it will cost for me more and more. So that it, and the final blueprint of CI/CD looks like in this way. Super quickly, again, we started from code, moving to CI/CD pipelines. Don't forget that infrastructure provision is a part of continuous delivery. Moving from one environment to another, run some additional tests, and also it's super important to run monitoring on all environments, because monitoring is your continuous operations. You run monitoring on, for example, on QA environment and figure out when you connected more than 10 times to your database, you got some error. It's a bug potentially, yeah? And if you figure out on the QA environment, it will be cost less than if you figure out the same stuff on the production. Thank you very much.